Good morning, Franklin County. Franklin County Mayor Chris Guest here with another Mayor's Friday update. We're lucky and honored this morning to have Judge David Stewart with us, the General Sessions and Juvenile Judge for Franklin County. And this morning he's just going to bring you some updates and some information about Franklin County General Sessions Court. So this time I'm going to turn it over to Judge Stewart.
Thank you. Thank you for having me this morning, Mayor. I really appreciate the opportunity to come in here and give some information to the citizens. So I'm just going to speak about the General Sessions aspect of my job. As you heard, I am the General Sessions and Juvenile Judge, and that covers a lot. But as far as General Sessions goes, that splits up into two different main topics. One would be the criminal side of that, and then there's a civil side to General Sessions jurisdiction. And for the criminal side, we have court twice a week, every week. Monday and Thursday are our criminal docket days. And on those dockets, we do everything from arraignments, that would be for people who have come in and been arrested and then have to be advised of certain things and assigned an attorney if they can't hire their own, to bond review motions and bond setting or review of those bonds that have been recently set. And we also have citation docket, which would be speeding tickets and things like that. And then we move on to the main docket, which would be the crimes that have been charged. General Sessions Criminal Court has what we call misdemeanor jurisdiction. So if there are felony cases, those cannot be pled out or tried in General Sessions Court. Only the misdemeanors could be pled to, or you could have a misdemeanor trial, although that is quite rare to have that happen in General Sessions Court. But that is what the caseload looks like on the docket for each of those mornings. Now, once a month we do a review court date, which is where we check on the progress for payment of fines and costs for those who are on probation and on payment plans to get their fines and costs paid. And so that's how we keep track of that. It is a very busy docket. Once those cases come into court, there are several options that can happen with those cases. I mentioned one, that they could result in a trial in General Sessions Court. The more often type of hearing that we have is a preliminary hearing, which is not a determination of guilt or innocence, just what we call a probable cause hearing. And if at the conclusion of that hearing I determine that there is probable cause to believe the crime was committed, then that goes up to circuit court. And I won't go into circuit court. That'd be a separate matter to go into. It would be a long discussion in and of itself. And then there's the opportunity, if a defendant chose to enter a plea to a misdemeanor case there in General Sessions Court. So that's sort of what the criminal side of it looks like. And we do occasionally use Fridays for the longer preliminary hearings. If those are going to stretch out and be hours long, then we have to use those days, just because there's not enough time on the normal Monday and Thursday docket. Now, on the civil side of things, General Sessions Court is kind of known as a small claims court. Those dockets are held on Tuesdays, and they have a range of cases. Those would be detainer warrants, or like an eviction where a landlord is moving out a tenant. It could be anything up to like a contract dispute or an injury case in smaller claims dollars. And collections cases, those are unfortunately a large part of that docket on those days. And orders of protection, where folks feel like they've been threatened or have been harmed, or those cover stalking and harassment. But those also come into our docket on Tuesdays, and sometimes they wind up on our Monday and Thursday dockets as well. So the big thing I would say about General Sessions Court is it's the volume court, and there are thousands of cases that come through the court every year, and those cases are important to the county because we have to keep certain cases moving on certain timelines, and so we pay close attention to that to make sure that we're doing our arraignment docket regularly. There are times that we do, even if we don't have, for instance, just recently I'm thinking the district attorneys and the public defenders, who are the attorneys that do the bulk of those cases in General Sessions Court were at their conferences, but we still did our arraignment dockets to keep those cases on the time path that they need to be on. But it is an incredible amount of caseload that comes through the court, and I do want to take a minute to say that I'm blessed with a wonderful staff, and our clerks do a fantastic job in this county. Of course, Robert Baggett is our Circuit General Sessions Court clerk, but we have wonderful folks there who help us handle all of this on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. And I do want to mention the judicial commissioners. I think that's a position that a lot of folks don't hear much about, but they are a critical cog in the wheel, so to speak, for our county and our judicial system. And the judicial commissioners are appointed by the county commission. I recommend folks for that, and then the county commission reviews that and makes that appointment. But the judicial commissioners are tasked with the responsibility of kind of being that first evaluation of a case on the criminal side of things, setting a bond, determining whether or not there's probable cause for an arrest. They do some search warrants. Those would be for cases where there are DUIs and you have to have a blood draw, and they handle those. And so they really perform a critical function to get those cases started and through started into that process, that flow of General Sessions Court. Something else I do, and I almost forgot to mention this, but General Sessions Criminal Court would also include signing some search warrants here in the county, and there are forfeiture warrants when there's an arrest made for drugs, narcotics, things like that. There can be forfeiture of property, and so those would typically come into to court for me to hear, and they just kind of pop up. There's no set day for any of those things. As needed, then we handle those. But really, that's in a nutshell what General Sessions Court looks like. I could go on, but I won't. But I hope that's informative, and I hope that helps give some idea for what we do down there on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis.
Judge, we really appreciate you coming by this morning. Thank you for all the information. And that's the purpose of the Mayor's Update Friday, just so people get a general idea of what goes on, not just with county government, but with the judicial system and all facets and all the cogs in the wheel that make the county operate on a day-to-day basis. But I'd also like to remind everybody that tonight is the county trunk or treat for Halloween under the pavilion here on the boulevard. A reminder, the mayor's office will also have a table with chili and hot dogs with proceeds to go to the Nathan Crichton-Weiss Foundation. Just like to remind everybody to be safe in all that we do, especially in Halloween, and the kids will be out on the sidewalks and up and down the road there in town. So everybody be especially mindful and careful. Everybody have a happy and safe weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning. Thank you.